You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sara J Loureiro.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. This is me, Sarah. Today, I thought it would be really fun and do an episode with one of my amazing clients. So here today, we have Amy Kelly. She is a confidence and life reset coach. She's also a global traveler. Amy, why don't you tell us where you are in the world right now?
Yes. Hi, nice to meet you and nice to speak with you, Sarah. I have just left America and I'm now in Europe. So I'm actually in Spain on an island called Ibiza. So yes, I'm here for a couple of months for the summer.
You're in Ibiza. That's amazing. All right. I love all
Yeah.
the places that you go to too. They're all just like very nice, dreamy. It's very, very on brand for you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, following the sunshine.
Yeah. Ooh, following the sunshine. I love that. All right. Well, the floor is yours to ask me any questions that you want to. And yeah, I'm really excited to answer them.
Yes, great. Thank you. So for me, it's about, I'd like to ask you, like, what is your number one tip for converting like warm followers into buyers without being pushy, like being too salesy?
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to convert warm followers into buyers, but you feel like you might be too salesy or pushy, the very first thing that I probably want you to start thinking about and questioning is what is too pushy and what is too salesy for you? Because oftentimes that's a mindset. And if we can tackle the mindset without necessarily doing the things that make you feel icky, that's going to be the perfect combination. And what I also find with a lot of my clients is they say that they don't want to be pushy and have like icky sales tactics, but what they also don't realize is that a lot of the times when you're talking to your specific ideal client, they won't find what it is that you're doing pushy. And that's because they resonate with you. They resonate with what it is that you're doing. And so if you're not careful, your desire to not be pushy and icky can actually hold you back and it can friend zone you in a lot of ways. So we want to deal with the actual mindset behind trying to be less pushy. And once we can do that, that's going to like lay the foundation of, okay, well, yes, my service is of high value and yes, this person needs it. And so then what we need to define is, okay, well, how do I want to sell it? And so one of the best ways that I know how to do that is literally inside of yourself. Understand that what you're doing is about to change lives. And people need it more than they need their new Nike shoes, or they need it more than they need their new holiday, because they're going to try to do those things in order to like serve that interior need. And so it's like they're already looking for Band-Aid solutions. You know that your solution isn't just a Band-Aid, it's lifelong. And so if you knew without a doubt that what you are doing is going to change someone's life, how differently would you feel about selling it to them? And you can even answer that right now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's getting into that mindset, really trying to make sure that I, stay focused and not have like, like I don't know if you know, but like imposter syndrome, trying not to
Yeah.
think that it's really, really hard to me, as you know, on social media, it's trying to, make sure that I'm coming across as who I am and being like, being genuine and really getting into the younger Amy who I'm trying to coach and who I'm getting into that mindset of. Um, my next question for you is, what mindset helped you keep going when your audience was small and engagement is low?
Ooh, yes. And so I'm going to kind of like try to merge both of these questions together because I feel like it's really going to help you. So when your audience is small and you're just like pushing, you're just getting started, understand for yourself that you only need one client to make a sale. So even if your audience is 100 people, 200 people, you'll need one of those people to actually make a sale. And so rather than thinking like, oh my God, I don't have 1,000 people to make the sale, think to yourself, I only need one out of these 100 people to buy for me. So if I only need one of them, what I need to do now is find that one, right? Find that one person out of these other people who are opening my emails and reading my posts. How can I find that one person? And then another thing that I really love that has a lot to do with the sales piece that you were talking about, because you're talking about being genuine. And I think a lot of people talk about this whole idea of like being genuine, being authentic. And there's a difference between being genuine and authentic as a friend and genuine and authentic as a leader. Because when we think of genuine and authentic, we oftentimes think of like, okay, well, this person needs to know I'm real. And if we're not careful, if we're being too genuine and authentic, quote unquote, we're actually masking our leadership under, well, I'm just a normal person. And the problem with that is that your ideal client doesn't want just a normal person. Your ideal client wants a leader. They want someone who's really confident in what they do. And so if you don't feel like a leader inside, that whole authenticity and wanting to be genuine is going to come across as like, oh, I'm just going to be the girl next door. But your clients don't want you to be the girl next door. Your clients want you to be a leader. And so what I would recommend in that case is understanding how to show up as that leader, and understanding too that let's say, for example, there are different things that someone's going to tell to their best friend and their therapist, right? And they're going to expect different outcomes from a conversation with a friend and from a conversation with a therapist. The friend is an authentic, genuine friend that's always going to tell them the truth, but the friend is always going to sugarcoat things because the friend you go to vent, right? Your therapist or your coach you go to because you want to change your life. And so are they still genuine, authentic? Yes. However, they're going to stand up to another level and they're going to want you to get to another level with them. And so they're going to hold you accountable. And so rather than really trying to focus on being you and being genuine, I would focus on how can I hold my ideal clients accountable to what it is that they want from their own lives. And if you've never done that before, that's going to feel like something inauthentic because you've never risen to that level yourself. You've never risen to that level of leadership. And so you just want to get comfy with rising to that level of leadership yourself. Because if you're not doing that, then you're going to come across too much as a friend. So we want to get you out of the friend zone, and we want to get you into the place where people are like, oh my God, this girl, Amy, is really calling me out. And she's at a level that I want to be at. And you need to claim that level for yourself more than trying to stay genuine. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. I agree completely. So another question is like one piece of my story, like what is one piece of my story I should be leading with more to build more trust?
Yeah. So love this question. So here's the thing. A lot of people are going to look at you online, and especially because you're the globe trotter, right? And you're the person who has this fancy life, they're going to say, oh, well, she doesn't know me. She doesn't know what I went through. So a really big part of your story is going to be that hero piece and that, how you rose from where you were and where you were, because they want to relate to where you were and how you got out of that. But an even bigger piece, especially right now in the online space, is your authority. So why are you an authority on this specific subject? What have you done for yourself? And you want to name it in terms of emotions, and you want to name it in terms of specific scenarios that you now don't feel anymore because you've done all of this work on yourself. So it's always you were at their pain, but you're also in their desire and you're living their desire. Even if you're not living their desire every single day of your life and every single moment, because you're human, you are living their desire. And so continuing to show them that that is possible for them as well when they want to rise up, and continuing to also share that part of your story of what was the gap, right? Like what was the gap between where you were and where you are now? That gap is where they are. And that gap is where the work is. And so if you can show them what that gap looks like and how you can navigate them through that gap, that's where you've got them, because then that's where they see, oh, if I do this work, I can end up like that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
Definitely. It was some work. I have to admit, definitely it wasn't overnight. It took me a couple of, took me work inside of me to get to that point. But yeah, what's the mindset that you adopted before your brand really took off?
Ooh, I love this one. Yes. And I feel like these are really great questions for you too.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
because you're there, you're doing all of the work, you're doing the strategy, you're so good at that piece. And I think that when we are like, let's be honest, right? Like I think that you're such a genuine person that you're afraid of coming off as being fully of yourself. Am I right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Also, because you have everything going for you too, right? So you have the style, you have the glam, you have like, you have all of these different things that are going for you. And I'd also wonder for you, Amy, have you ever had it in your life where someone was jealous of you or where someone else put you on a pedestal and then all of a sudden like you came off of it and there was like a lot of jealousy going on? Have you ever had that?
Yes, it's been yeah, that's kind of the reason why I left everything from behind. I wanted to kind of have a new start and not have that around me and people who could really lift me up.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want to talk more about that now? Because you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I'm open. This is what I'm here to, encourage other, maybe young women who have gone through what I went through at that stage in their life. And, I kind of did have a life where I did get married young, I did have everything and had the house, the car, the marriage, and when everything kind of I lost everything around me, that meant I lost family, friends, career, relationships all in one go, not just like one part of the puzzle. I kind of lost everything. And I just felt like I couldn't heal in that place. And I did have people in that life that I did have of jealousy and you've got this and how did you get there? And even now, I'm living this place where, I do have kind of freedom, the freedom to travel and freedom to do something I love. So I am careful about how I portray that image, but I did the work and I worked on myself to get to this point. I'm really in a position where I want to give back and inspire other young women to go and live their dream life because it's
Yeah.
absolutely possible.
Beautiful. Do you remember in specific any one person who was very jealous of you where you were afraid to shine brighter because you knew that that one person was,
Mhm.
going to quote unquote come after you, even if it was just like, a comment or something that they'd say?
100%. Yeah, there is.
Okay.
There is somebody. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I want you to now think about what is the reason why you don't want to shine brighter and you don't want to show up as this like big version of yourself. And I want you to think about whether or not that person is one of the reasons. Are they at the back of your head?
I think there's a mix of things. I think I'm careful about, what life I did have and kind of what vision I'm going into, and also just trying to not be a perfectionist about things, trying to really be vulnerable about who I am and what my personality is really like. And it is a sensitive subject that I'm coaching on, being divorced and being young, because it opens up wounds that I've had, the trauma that I went through to get to this point. But I also want to show that to other women what they can achieve. It's really, really important. So I want to kind of detach from that and just let go on showing everything that's possible because I do hold back on Instagram,
Yeah. Okay. What do you hold back on?
showing what I'm really doing and what life I'm actually kind of living, which it is amazing because I dreamt of this life years ago and I'm doing it. But I do feel that I don't post everything or really show what's happening, going into these countries and flying and um meeting amazing people because I am cautious about what I show on there when I shouldn't. I should show my full visibility of exactly what's happening.
So, what are you afraid of?
Yeah, definitely people's opinions. A lot of people are going to say what they're thinking. I'm like, is she going to make it? How is she going to get there? There are people who are going to be watching and seeing what I'm doing and
Hmm.
curious to how I got there, right? Or how did she make it to that point?
Right. And so your most amazing clients and followers are going to be like, "Oh my God, like I love what Amy's doing." But then there's
Hmm.
other people who you're going to be like, "Oh, did you see Amy? Did you see what she
Yep,
was up to? Or, who does
definitely.
she is, right?"
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
That's
yeah, no,
that's weird. Hmm.
uh-huh. Yeah, that is the fear. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has fear when they show their life on social media. And it is a vulnerable place, especially when it's something a sensitive subject, about what you've been through, because you don't want to hurt other people, um, and share it, what happened. But I also think it's a really important subject that, especially in young women who do get divorced and feel like there is no other option for them out there, because I didn't think there was anything for me either until I got through them barriers and broke down that fear to push through no matter what happened.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have two different suggestions and thought processes for you that I think you're going to like, and I'll kind of also like try to share a little bit of my own processes through this. And so one of the easiest things that you can do for yourself if you are just afraid of what people are going to think of you and how to like really just post everything that you've ever wanted to say without the fear of being polarizing or the fear of, like people calling you out, is understanding that you are separate from your brand. And so
Mhm.
you are, a fallible human being, and you're going to have your ups and downs. And, you could potentially go back home one day and stay there for a year and then start off this life again. It doesn't matter. Your brand is different. Your brand is the woman who has all of these things, and your brand is the thing that you really want to market forward as, yeah, I have this really amazing life. I'm going to show it to you. I'm not going to show you all of it. So maybe I won't show you all of the things that I'm still uncomfortable with. And that's fine because it's your brand. You get to decide what it is that you're showing and what it is that you're not showing. And so if you can separate yourself from your brand, and if you can say, this is me, these are all of my insecurities, but my brand, or sometimes I call this my alter ego, right? My alter ego is my brand. That part of me feels safe in showing these things. It's okay because it's an online persona. It's a persona that I have that in using this persona, I'm going to inspire the crap out of people. And I know that by using this persona more and playing more on this persona versus feeling like I need to be more of like me holistically, if I just play on this persona more online, I'm going to capture people. I'm going to cultivate like a really big sense of freedom with them. And then when I work with them and they go through highs and lows, I'm still going to be the human there. I'm still going to help them through those highs and lows. But the thing with marketing is that you want to present that image of what it is that people really want from you. And so one of the easiest ways to do that is, yeah, separate yourself. You are yourself as a human being, and then your brand is different. And so what are the things, if you want to write these down, what are the things that are different from you as a human versus you as a brand? Where can the brand be spicier? Where can the brand be bolder where you necessarily wouldn't go there as a human being? And then that's how you can really help yourself to push things a little bit more that as a human you might feel uncomfortable with, but it's okay because you're only showing a specific part of you as the brand because you want to inspire people as that part.
Yeah.
How does
Yeah,
that feel?
definitely makes sense. Yeah, definitely. I think being on social media and being on Instagram is a new world for most people starting out. It is, as we all know, we like to put Instagram and make it look like everything is amazing. Whereas this, on the other hand, is really just showing the good and the bad. What are you really doing? How hard is it? What is difficult for you? Because we all like to think our lives are perfect on social media when they're not.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think coming out of that mindset is just, it is a mindset and changing into that,
But
like you said with the
also,
brand.
yeah, and also you're curating the bad as well. So remember that too,
Hmm.
because you're not putting all of the bad. You're not, let's say, for example, if you have the stomach flu, you're not going to put about how you threw
No,
up, right?
no, no,
Like,
no.
because
Yeah, exactly.
that's irrelevant to your ideal client, right? What you
Yes.
want to put is the bad that is relevant to your ideal client. And so everything that
Mhm.
you're doing, even the bad, is technically curated, right? And
Yep.
then another side of this, and this is something that I've struggled with a lot too, is this whole like, well, what if it ends one day? Right? What if
Yes.
it ends one day? And what if I'm showing all these people this
Hmm.
beautiful life that ends one day? Then what are people
Yeah.
or, like, what if I look like a phony? And I think this is very similar to how people feel about marriage and divorce, right?
Hmm.
So it's the same thing. It's this whole like, well, what if I'm really happy in my marriage and then one day I get a divorce? Oh, that means that I can't be happy now. And that's what we
Mhm.
constantly do to ourselves. We say, if this isn't going to be eternal, then I cannot boast about it. I can't be happy about it. I can't help other people do this. And I think it's such a really interesting thing that we do to ourselves because if we know, let's say, for example, if we know we're going to go on a holiday for 2 weeks, we
Yeah.
know that that has
Yeah.
an end date. And so we're going to be like, yeah, we're going to go all in. But
Yeah.
because of the fact that we don't know if this life has an end date or not, let's say this boastful, beautiful life that you're doing, we don't know if it has an end date or not. It's like you're very cautious of showing it and is presenting it to be real.
Hmm.
But it is real because the only thing that you can predict is the present moment. And so your present moment life that you've been living for a few years now is real.
Hmm.
It's very
Yeah.
much real. And so it's the same thing as with a divorce. You know, a divorce doesn't mean that a marriage failed. It just means that a marriage ran its course. That's
Mhm.
it, right? You could have
Yeah.
had 2 really amazing years of marriage. You could have had 2 really crappy years of marriage. It doesn't matter. It What matters is how you spent the time doing the thing that you wanted to do in that specific moment. And so
Yeah.
what I always think to myself as well is, you know, I've had 7 years where I've been working full time for myself. And yeah, it could change tomorrow. Yeah, it could change next year. Next year, I could, who knows, I could be back in Canada. I'd be having to work somewhere else. That does not change that I did this for myself for 7 years. That does not
Yeah.
change that you did this for yourself for 2 years, for 1 year. And your clients can go along and do this for even more time than you did because just because you capped at a specific place doesn't mean that your clients have to cap at that place. So I could be, going through an income plateau, but my clients could be getting and going above that income plateau that I've done. My job isn't to tell them that there is an end date because I don't know if there's an end date. My job is just to tell them that it's possible and it's possible to do it for longer periods of time. And so, Amy, if this happens to end one day, it doesn't mean it never
Mhm.
happened. It doesn't mean that the
Yeah.
whole thing is a failure, right? And if you live more in that present moment in terms of what you're doing, you're more likely to be able to do it for longer periods of time. And what I would also say is that even for you, it's not like you're just living off of savings. You actually have an income that allows you to do this as well. And so you're probably going to be doing this for a lot longer than you think. I think that this is probably
Mhm.
just your mind creating a crutch, which goes and I would suspect that this crutch for you is actually more so about your fear of success. Because it's like, if I do this longer, and if I am this person for a really long time, then what's it going to mean about the community that I left from back home?
Mhm.
How does that sit with you?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It is. It is because, when you go on this journey as, you've left your hometown and we're in different places and, we meet different people. When we do go back, we're kind of, I feel like for me, I have changed and I don't
Mm.
think it would be an option to go back. So for me, there's never really a plan B. It's always that plan A and we keep going and we're going to make it no matter what happens. Even
Yeah.
if it is hard, and there'll always be another way. There'll always be something else you can do. But for me, this is just the life path that I'm now on, and I really, really enjoy it. So there
Beautiful.
is no other. Yeah, definitely.
And another thing that I would love for you to envision for yourself, this is something that I've kind of envisioned for myself too, is like you're jumping out of a window, right?
Hmm.
So you just like you jumped, you already took the jump.
Definitely.
You're already there, right? So, and you probably already have people talking about you. You already have people being like, "Did you see Amy? Did you see what she's doing?
Hmm.
She's in a new country. I wonder how long she could afford that, right?"
Yeah.
You already
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
people saying all of the things. I remember when I was in my 9 to 5 for 6.5 years. And
Yeah.
so when I left, like I still have dreams about being back there. And I'm like, wait a second.
Hmm.
And I haven't been there for 7 years. And so
Yep.
I'm always just like, am I really back there? Like, what is going on? And some of my old coworkers still follow me. And
Yep.
sometimes I'm like, oh man, what if they're, sitting at their desks saying,
Yep.
did you see what Sarah posted yesterday or whatnot, right? Like we're
Yeah.
always thinking that other people think about us so much more than other people actually think about us,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly that. So true.
so it's then I think to myself, like, well, but what does it matter? Like, does it actually matter to me and to my life if someone who I used to work with is talking about what I'm doing with my life right now? What is the worst thing that can happen there? Right. So if you go down your worst case scenario, let's say, for example, your old friends from your old town, they're all like talking about you. Some of them are jealous of you. Some of them might be really inspired by what you're doing. And so that's another really beautiful part of really
Yes.
standing in your greatness and in your brilliance is some of them might send you a private text one day and be like, Amy, I love what you're
Yeah.
doing, and I just wanted you to know that. And you're here and you're creating an experiment. And so I think that that's another really beautiful
Exactly.
part of it is why don't you just treat this as an experiment? It might not last forever. It might. I mean, for me, it's lasted 7 years and I'm expecting it to last more than that, right? But it's a
Hmm.
beautiful experiment of what it is that you're capable of. And you're bringing other people along for the ride. And so like I said, you've already, jumped out the window. Why not just go all the
Hmm.
way? Right? Why not
Yeah.
just push yourself more and just think of yourself in terms of this like you're already out of their 2D world and you're in your own 3D space. So it's just like, how can you keep on shifting timelines? How can you keep on shifting the variables that are in front of you and just say, like, hey, this is an experiment. This is my brand. I'm going to see how far I can take this.
Yes. Definitely. Definitely. I love that.
Good. Is that inspiring for you?
Yeah, definitely. I also try my best to envision that, all we have is right now and we don't have tomorrow. And I try and live every day as if it is kind of your last. Because when I think like that, it gets me to a different mindset. Like, oh, Evie, all you've got is just this moment. So just keep going and go for it, you
Yeah.
know?
And in all honesty, like being a leader is exhausting. A lot of the times it is
Hmm.
exhausting because sometimes you're like, you wake up in the morning, you're like, I don't want to be a leader today. Right. And
Hmm.
some days you can give yourself that privilege of being like, I'm not going to be a leader today. And,
Yep.
that's also very honest with yourself. But yeah, I mean, like pushing yourself to be better is hard
Yep.
because most people around you don't push themselves to be better. Most people around you aren't like, okay, I hit an income plateau. Most people are like, great, that's great. I'm gonna stay here, which is fine. But someone like you're like, no, I'm gonna push it up. I'm gonna,
Hmm.
see what else I can do. And the problem becomes that if you're surrounding yourself if you used to surround yourself with people who didn't believe that that type of stuff was possible, it's
Yes.
gonna take you so much more energy to get up there, but you just constantly need to ask yourself, who am I becoming? Who do I
Hmm.
want to become in this lifetime? Right? I have the means, I have the tools, I have the social media, I have all of these different opportunities for me to become this bigger version of myself. What do I need to leave behind? And
Yeah.
is that the thing that's creating resistance?
Hmm. Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. It's definitely true. Yeah. I mean, finally, I just got one question I'd like to ask you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What affirmations or practices help you embody the version of you that already had the successful coaching business? What did you do like daily?
Yeah. Okay. So to embody what I have now, it's actually kind of crazy because I keep on trying to shift timelines for myself and like no one else knows what your actual goal was. So everyone knows what it is that you created. No one knows the
Yeah.
goal that you had, right? Which is
Mm-hmm.
fascinating because let's say, for example, if you have a $50,000 launch, no one knows that you actually wanted an $80,000 launch. And so no one knows that you're disappointed about that $50,000 launch. Everyone around you is just like, oh my God, you did a $50,000 launch. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so you get to dream and design whatever it is that you want. And the way that I've done this is I always shoot a lot higher than what I actually realistically think that I can do because it helps you to think more creatively. So there's two really amazing books that have really helped me to shift into bigger and better and just focus on the version of myself that I'm becoming. The first one was The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone.
Mm-hmm.
And that book is really fun because he basically talks about how we really underestimate the amount of time that it's going to take us to do things. And so he just basically says, if you just 10x your goal, you're guaranteed to make the 2x version of it
Yeah.
because you're going to put in so much more time and effort into doing the thing that you really want to do. And so that was one of them. Another one was, I think his name is Dan Hardy. Can't remember. So forgive me for that. But 10x is better than 2x. And what he states is, usually our brains are like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a little bit better than I did before. But what he says, and it's a very similar idea to Grant Cardone, he says that if you actually think about 10xing your goals and 10xing everything that you're doing, it forces you to think more creatively. So it forces you to think outside of the confines of reality. And when you think more creatively, you start to create different outcomes for what it is that you're doing. So because you're not thinking with the same thought process. So you're thinking with the same thought process when you're trying to do a 2x. But if you're trying to do a 10x, you can't think with the same thoughts. You actually literally have to become a different person. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things that I really try to stretch myself with. And then there are specific practices that I've really, really loved doing and that I continue to really enjoy doing. One of them, before I lived on the beach, was every time that I took a beach trip, I'd make sure to tell my husband to take care of our son when I would go out in the mornings. So in the mornings, on Sunday mornings, I'd go out and I'd take what I'd call my manifestation walk. And I would walk along the beach and I'd make sure that I'd have my shoulders down and back and I'd make sure that I have my chest a little bit out, because that really shows that I'm like more powerful and I'm open to receiving, right? Because if we're constantly like coiled in, we're not receiving. We're trying to actually protect our energy. And so when you have your shoulders down and back and you have your chest out, you're more open. And so I try to really embody that in terms of like, give it to me, right? This whole like, give me the next step. I'm ready. Yes. I'm ready here. I'm open to receive it. And as you start to position yourself like that, even in your body, you start to energetically want to believe better things for yourself as well. And so I would just be like, show me what's possible. Let's do it. Yep. Let's dream. Let's dream up the next thing. And every time I'd go on those walks, I would dream up the next thing. And I'd be like, okay, who do I need to become to do that? And then I'd let my intuition and I'd let my wisdom tell me those things. And so then I would come back and maybe I'd journal around it. Maybe I'd have like a few different pointers on what it is that I needed to do. And I think a lot of the parts of manifestation and becoming someone that are particularly painful, which is why a lot of people don't manifest, is you have to let go of the version of yourself that is still holding on to the old things. Mm-hmm. And so for me personally, one thing that I've always struggled with is a sense of belonging and a sense of, well, if I go to another income level, then how am I going to, speak to this one friend anymore? Or I know that if I want to get to this level, I have to stop saying that things are expensive, for example, or like, complaining about the cost of things or complaining about these specific things. I needed to get out of those rooms and get into bigger rooms, which also meant that if I had any friendships that were focused around those types of trauma bonds, I had to start focusing those friendships out of other types of bonding. And sometimes you're not going to find a different type of bonding with that specific friend. So that means that you have to have a bit of a falling out. Mm-hmm. Those are often the most painful types of experiences. Or let's say, for example, if you know that the version of yourself who's, making six figures or multiple six figures, if you know that like she's taking care of her body better than you are right now, then you know that like for the next month or so, you're going to have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym. That's also painful, right? You're creating a new habit for yourself. You're creating a new version of yourself. It's painful because you have to let go of I just wanted to sleep in today. Right? Like I just wanted the coziness of today, or I wanted the coziness of where I am. And that's equally as much work as the embodiment pieces and the manifestation pieces. And one actually really great thing that I continue to do, and you can continue to do this as well, is I love being in hotels. And so you want to think about the experience that makes you feel the most taken care of and the experience that makes you feel the most supported in terms of your higher level version of yourself. And I just know that every time that I go to a hotel, people are waiting on me. People are like saying my name. People are saying good morning. They're serving me breakfast. And it feels like this really beautiful, great experience that I'm stepping into versus making my own food, for example. And they're not even things that are that expensive for you to be doing, but it makes you feel more comfortable with elevating your lifestyle and with elevating your expectations of what it is you believe that you deserve, which is huge. I could go on and on about this,
Uh-huh.
but it's all about readjusting your energetic thermostat for the standards that you expect for yourself. And so you are probably already very familiar with this because you got out of a relationship that wasn't serving you. You probably also got out of a town or an environment that wasn't serving you, right?
Yep.
And so a lot of times people are like, okay, well, that's it, right? But someone like you is just like, that's not it. I want to keep on doing this and keep on doing this. And so as you keep on elevating your energetic thermostat around what it is that you deserve, this is where the lack of authenticity or the wanting to feel genuine comes in, because other people perceive that as classist, or they'll perceive that as, oh, she's full of herself, or she thinks she's too good for us, and things like that. All that you're doing is that you're elevating the caliber of life that you expect for yourself. It doesn't mean that they can't do it too. They just don't want to rise to that expectation for themselves as well. And so that's why they need to try to, like, protect what they believe is possible for them by criticizing what you have done for yourself. So understand that as well in terms of
Yeah.
where you come from. But I would definitely say that you want to keep on like pushing that envelope in terms of, okay, what is another thing that I can start to expect for myself? And what is another like reality that I can create for myself where I now like, I put things a little bit higher. It doesn't mean that I'm full of myself. It doesn't mean that I have to let go of being generous or kind with people who don't have that expectation for themselves as well. But also, just because other people don't have that expectation for themselves in their life doesn't mean that I'm not capable of doing that for myself.
Yeah.
How does
Sounds
that
good.
feel?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Definitely what I need right now.
Good. Okay, great. These are all things that I've also gone through. So do this for
Yeah.
yourself. Let's like I'll give you the recording for this as well. Obviously, like everyone else is going to hear it, which is great, and I'm really excited that you asked all these questions. And yeah, I can't wait to hear how it all goes for you.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nice speaking with you.
Yeah, nice speaking with you as well. Okay, Amy, anything else that you want to ask or anything else that you want to say?
I do have one more question if we have time.
Sure. Yeah.
If you were me right now and you're at this point in your coaching, what would you do to elevate for the next 90 days? What would you embody and what would you do
Oh,
to really grow?
I'm gonna press record again.
Sorry.
No, no worries.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the next 90 days, if you wanted you'd like your highest self version to embody and grow, what I would do is I would be like, who am I becoming in these next 90 days? How can I make this an experiment for myself? So, what is the person or what is the version of me in 90 days who has everything that they want and is just like, oh my God, I can't believe how much I've grown over the last 90 days. And I want you to embody her. So you can visualize her. You can visualize her as Queen Amy, whatever it is that you want to do. And so you're going to see her. You're going to see her in front of you. You're going to see how she feels. You're going to see how she behaves. You're going to see how the way that she talks. And then you're going to see who you are right now. And you're going to start to understand the discrepancies between the two Amy's. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, what did the Queen Amy from 90 days from now, what did she need to let go of? What did she need to step into? And the beautiful thing about giving yourself 90 days is you're giving yourself a time limit. So it's just like, okay, it doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be exhausting. It's just for 90 days. So then you want to write all of those things down and start writing down the micro decisions that you need to do on a daily basis in order to get there. And just remember, every day that moves on, let's say, for example, one day you don't do something, it's not a big deal because Queen Amy is there and telling you to keep going because she's just like, well, I didn't do it for every single day of the 90 days. I'm not perfect. I'm a human, right? I might be Queen Amy, but I'm still a human being. And that's the beautiful part of it, is that she's not unattainable. She's there. She's you 90 days in the future. And so rather than trying to be perfect, what we want to do is outline the things that she does more consistently than the things that you're doing now. And all of the little micro decisions that you can start to create for yourself. Like, let's say, for example, going to the nicer restaurant and maybe just having a drink, one drink, right? But just noticing the vibe while you're there, right? You're in Ibiza right now, so that's perfect. Ibiza's full of like really luxury places, right? So like go to one place, just have one drink. Even if it's going to cost you 20 euros, you just sit there, you have the drink, you can afford the 20 euros, but you're going to go there for the environment. Like there are other things that you do. Let's say, for example, dress to the occasion. It's just like what makes you feel more confident, dressing up, putting on makeup. Okay, you're going to wear your cutest outfit and that's how you're going to go there, right? Things like that. So that's what I would do. Envision your highest self for 90 days from now, and then start to map out, what is she doing differently? How does she look different? What did she have to do to get there? And what are all of the micro decisions that I can take from now in terms of the embodiment and in terms of the strategy that are going to get me to her?
Amazing. I love that. That is exactly what I'm going to do. I really want to do it. Yes, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, and we'll keep in touch and see how all this goes. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us. All right, take care, Emmy. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarajloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.